going to go through my PowerPoint like I do, but this is I don't want you to even really pay attention to the PowerPoint too much. I want this to be a conversation. I want this to be, you guys can watch me on Surefire, you can watch me on whatever, the weekly videos, if you want to just sit here and let me talk, right? So I mean, you guys have access. So I want this to be as much about what you guys need as what I have to say. I want to use this to keep us on track, but I want this to be open, honest, raw. If there's things that you absolutely just disagree with that I say, which will happen. I mean, it absolutely will. Like, dude, I don't know. Like, that's not me, or I don't think that'll fly here in Louisville, or Louisville, or luckily I'm from Lexington, so I know the proper pronunciation, and hopefully none of you guys wear red, or else I'll probably have to leave. But yeah, I went to school at UK, and but yeah, it's going to be one of those things that I am not the end all be all, right? So there's three really big components when it comes to a successful salesperson, and I'm literally only teaching one of them, right? I am teaching sales process. And process should never change, right? You should literally every single time the process should be exactly the same, and that's what I'm going to teach you, is the framework, the foundation, the format, right? But the other big parts of it are you, right? Your personality, your ability to build rapport, to create relationships, the confidence that you have that you can help people. It's hard for me to teach that, right? I can give you rapport building techniques, I can give you all those kind of things, but at the end of the day, you have to be a genuine, empathetic person that wants to help people to be successful in this industry. If you are a guy that is out to just try to make some money, to sell some stuff, to hoodwink, like, you will never make it successfully in this business, because the one thing that I know for sure is that no one wants to buy what we sell, right? Absolutely, no one wants to buy anything. Now, take a stove, maybe something like that, they may want a stove, but service work, no one wants what we sell. No one wants a chimney liner, no one wants crown coat, no one wants caps, no one wants parging, right? They want to use their fireplace, right? They want to stop water. They want to make sure birds don't get in, right? But they don't want to buy the stuff that we have. So the more that we try to sell the things that we have, the more we are going to have that recipe for pushback, right? So all we're going to talk about today is how do we go in and understand what people want, how do we help them, and how do we make sure that they understand the situation they're in, the severity of it. So my understanding, you guys are all commissioned, is that correct? Yeah?
Yeah.
So, okay, well, you're on your way to it, right? So, guys, I will tell you, I don't travel 250 days a year just because I love it. And I do love it. I love what I do. With a passion, I love what I do. I do it because I make really good money. It takes care of my family. I'm going to show you how to make some stupid money. And I mean it. I've got guys that sell over $3 million in one truck doing 3 appointments a day. Multiple guys, 6 guys did $3 million last year. I got dozens doing $2 million. Just do the math on your commission. Just do the math. There's no reason you can't do that here, right? You want to make some doctor money, some lawyer money, I can show you how to do it. But it's not going to be easy. Like you just said, you have to watch something 15 times. Your habit is so powerful. It is fascinating when I go out in the truck, man. Somebody that's been doing this 3-4 appointments a day for years, and then I try to change one little thing, man. All right, we're going to go in and ask these 3 questions instead of the ones. And then they go in there and they immediately default mode goes back to what they always did. You have to work so hard to change, to do things. And so there are going to be times today that you're going to say, man, I don't know, I'm not sure. And you don't have to do it, right? You absolutely don't have to do it. One of my favorite quotes in the world is, I'm sorry you didn't get the results for the work that you didn't put in, right? Sorry you didn't get the results for the work that you didn't put in. You can absolutely get back in your truck tomorrow and do what you did before today. You'll continue to make what you always made. You'll continue to get what you always got. But if you're willing to put in the work and willing to work hard to implement, because this is nothing I'm going to teach you is hard, right? It's all so easy, but it's impossible because of the habit, right? Like, none of this is anything that you guys can't do. It's just a matter of how hard are you willing to work to change those habits to start doing that. And if you will, you'll see the results. I love hearing stories like that where you had a $15,000 sale, just kind of pop through that. I was in with a company literally last week, all week. I was in Cleveland last week. We went on 3 appointments a day for 5 days. Just our truck alone sold 140,000, right? 1 week, one truck. You do that over a year, that's $6-7 million. One truck. That's what's possible in this. So that's the expectation, right? And like, you don't just get there. You're not going to get there today. You're not going to get there this month. You're probably not. You may not get there this year, right? But you will absolutely get there. If you knew the hundreds of hours that I have myself on tape, recording myself in customers' homes, and then going back and listening to it and wanting to throw up at what I sounded like, and wanting to say, "Oh my God, I can't believe I said. Did I really say it? Do I sound like that? Is my accent that bad?" Like just constantly criticizing myself until I got to the point where I felt very smooth with my language, and I'm still tweaking language, right? So you do not get better at sales unless you work at it. It's just your confidence gets stronger, right? You feel better in certain situations because you've seen it before. But if you struggle with price objections today, you're going to struggle with price objections for 10 years from now if you do not actively work to do things to change that, right? I mean, I've trained guys that have been doing this for 30 years. They wake up, do the same objections they dealt with 20 years ago, and it's like, what do you do? This has got to be like Groundhog Day for you, man. Why are you not working to change this? And it's amazing to me. So but at the end of the day, some of you may know, Doug probably knows me better than anybody in here besides my buddy Kevin. I am a work hard, play hard guy. I have fun. You see me at convention, there's a 90% chance I've got a drink in my hand and I'm having a good time, right? Maybe more than one drink in my hands. I work hard, I play hard, I have fun, I enjoy going to concerts, I love my grandbabies, all those kind of things. Kevin's been an old time friend of mine for 20-some years, and we went to Napa together last year and drank enough wine to kill a fish, and so but my whole point of that is I work my ass off so I can also enjoy my ass off, right? And so your why, I don't know what your why is, right? Maybe it's just you want to make money, maybe you want to take care of your family, maybe you want a career, maybe you want to make a difference. Whatever that is, whatever your why is what is going to motivate you to make change. If you're comfortable, if you're complacent, if you're happy with the money you're making, you feel, it's like you're in that grind mindset, you're not going to be motivated to do this. So my encouragement for you guys is take notes. You're going to forget 85-90% of what I talk about today for sure, right? I mean, it's going to go in one, out the other if you don't take notes. So if you have questions about anything that I say, please ask them. You cannot offend me, you cannot interrupt me, no raising hands, no, just ask your question, right? I'm not a formal guy at all. If there's something that doesn't make sense, you want me to re-explain something, please, again, this is your all's day. So typically they say roughly 3 full weeks to make change. When we're done with today, I'm going to provide you guys some worksheets, some sales process checklists and debrief sheets that you can take to the truck and actually kind of reinforce some of the things that we're talking about today. So kind of go from there. So I always like to start with this. I just want to do some introductions, kind of get to know you guys a little bit, and specifically what your role is, how long you've been here, name, and then if there's one, like if you walked away from this class with just one thing being resolved or understood better, what would that look like? What's the situation that gives you the most trouble? What's the objection that gives you the most trouble? Type of customer, whatever that is, and I'll make sure that we cover that in today's class. So let's just start, just kind of the basic bio.
I'm Joshua Bagel. I've been working here since 2020. I built a showroom. I've known Doug for a while, so contracting my background, and it just kind of worked out. And now I've kind of moved into, I've got all the certifications to get tech, but I do all the, I guess, the bigger, more obscure jobs that take a little bit more skill or effort that are fun to find out once you get into it.
Yeah, nice. So today, what makes you happy? What kind of information are you looking for today?
I just get to sit in for a little bit because I'm waiting for a guy, but just to learn what they're learning because we talk all the time, and I talk with Andrew a lot and Philip. The better they can do their job for me, the more money I can make with them because I'm on commission. So like if I can walk into a job And I know, because I think the day before, weeks before,
Yep.
if I can walk in and everything goes as the way I thought,
Yep.
I can get things done twice as fast as most
Absolutely.
people, but if I have to go in and figure out what they forgot and then work around it, and I've got to come back here, it's
Yep.
just, it's easier
Absolutely.
on everybody
Absolutely.
if we all make the most that we possibly
So
can.
continuing that well documented report and thinking of all the things. Have you guys, just curious, have you, for outside of the basics, the sealers and stuff, have you guys ever done any of the work? Yeah. So you guys, so you can put yourself into the mindset of an installer and say, hey, if I was doing this job, this is kind of what I would need, and all those things that go through your head are things that should be, documented. Hey, you may want to bring an extra step ladder, or you may want to, make sure you have a pitch hopper, so do little things like that avoid those Home Depot, Lowe's warehouse trips, right? It's the classic, the bottle of water, right? If how much does bottle cost?
Bottle of water
Yeah,
here
yeah.
in the office.
Yeah, just how much?
About $1.50.
$1.50.
Yeah.
How much is this water cost you if your guy needs it and it's right here and he's an hour away?
About $350.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
yeah.
so every time we make that additional trip, every time we lose that is $350. So you should be thinking as if you were the owner of that company and saying, shit, I don't do that, man. That's what if that was coming out of my pocket, and that's the reality of it. So it's not that the thing can be very small and minute, but time is our biggest asset, right? So when we're charging by the hour, that's so we will. That's very good. So Doug, you're no exception here.
I'm not, okay.
Yeah. Well, tell me what you want from today.
What I want from today is a clearer understanding of the processes. So I've been saying some of these things. I'm not here on a consistent basis,
Yep.
so I'm dependent upon these processes being taught when I'm not here.
Yeah.
Oftentimes it's better to hear it from someone else.
Oh, for sure.
You already said like 3 things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sorry. But I'm gonna try to.
Yeah. Well,
And understand the value, because to get buy-in into the process.
Yeah.
This doesn't happen instantaneously, and so sometimes you get buy-in into it. So, and I love the fact that you can make stupid money, because I can see it.
Yeah.
I can see it. I can feel it. I've been
Yeah.
out there. I've sold 7 out of 9 leaky chimneys.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is actually working.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so people need what you have.
Yeah.
And I understand you can make well into the 6 figures.
Absolutely.
Without, but the better you get at it, the more fun it is.
That's right.
And the more fun it is, the better you get at it. So it's like this self-perpetuating.
Absolutely true.
And so I hate to see frustration.
Yeah.
I hate to see, these things. I hate to see the challenges. I get on the phone with someone, and from my perspective, I always get the problems. Or the
Yeah,
challenges.
of course.
And it always boils down. 95% of the time, customers are right.
Yep.
95% of the time, we have had miscommunication.
Yep.
We have had, that's what it is. There's miscommunication that starts from the moment they pick the phone up
Yep.
to somewhere along the line, there was miscommunication, and the customer believes a certain way because they weren't steered in the right direction.
Right.
And so I want to, that's the big thing, is the process.
Well, it is so fascinating because you'll, like I said, I kind of wish I could get out with you guys so you could see this. Like I am overly truthful with customers, like to the point where I'm willing to talk myself out of the sale just to make sure that they fully understand the entire scope, right? I mean, there are times where people would be like, well, you've got the sale basically, and then perfect example, it was yesterday. So we get to a job, and the call was storm damage, right? I was like, okay. So it was a chase. It had one piece of vinyl siding that was that had blown off. So I guess that was the storm damage. But very clear, you could see the decking board behind it was completely rotted out. Water through it. The chase cover shot in the roof. I mean, the entire chase is like, we could have pushed it over. It was not stable. So the lady was talking about, well, is this something that I can claim on insurance? And I said, most likely not. I said, you may get them to replace that one piece of vinyl, but I mean, that's not worth your deductible. I mean, this is years and years of water intrusion, and the chase cover didn't have a drip edge, and the water's just been coming in there. And she's like, well, I think I'm going to still submit it to the, submit whatever you want, but I am telling you right now that the odds of them covering this is extremely low. And this was a 1990 Timco unit, right? She didn't want us, she wanted to pay the money, it was a free exterior inspection. She didn't want to pay for the I think it was $295 with this company to do the interior inspection. She's like, yeah, I use it all the time, but yeah, it's fine. And I was like, man, we basically quoted her a complete chase reconstruction, right? And so I forgot, it was like 14 grand to do this. And I told her, I said, we haven't inspected your fireplace, but I am a betting man, and I am almost sure that your 1990 unit is going to be shot, right? And while we have it open, that is the time that if we're going to replace this unit, this would be the time to do it, right? This basically becomes a $3,000 job to put in a whole new fireplace and pipe versus a $10,000 job if I got to reopen all this kind of stuff. And so the guy that I was with said, hey man, that's not why she called. Right, she called because of the storm damage. You keep talking about all this other stuff. She's gonna be like, just forget it. And that mindset of let me get a little of something versus all of nothing is terrible. It is absolutely terrible. You always need to serve your client. Always be, even if it costs you to sell, be extremely honest and transparent about everything that's going on. You don't want to ever feel like you're hiding something. Ever feel like you're not giving them the full truth, because the full truth will come out. Right, and just I would be overly transparent when you explain things. The last thing I want to do is have someone feel like they got tricked, or someone spent $14,000 and then they're like, I can't even use my fireplace.
You gotta be professional.
Yeah, so yes, that's all communication, clarity, process, perfect. All right, so
in that situation,
yeah,
would you agree with it? We'll give you a free fireplace inspection while we're doing the chase. We'll bring the
100%.
results to you. And of course you can use your fireplace.
Yeah.
This is America.
Yeah.
But it doesn't meet codes and standards.
That's right.
And codes and standards are there
Yeah.
to protect you.
That's right.
So then now you've covered your CYA.
Yeah.
And you've done your due diligence. And
Yep.
you've taken the hot potato and gone, here you go.
That's exactly
It's yours now. Now that's your hot potato.
And so I will show pictures like, let's see if this will come through real quick here. I will show pictures like this to customers, and this is where we get into the photo stories, and you need to kind of create your own here. But I really want them to understand, right, that behind all this wood right here is your fireplace. This entire thing is made of wood. Do you really want to risk having a fire with all this wood, right, without it being properly inspected, or with it have rust holes, or with it having a panel with cracks that are allowing heat to transfer? Is that, because that's crazy to me, right? Like you said, it's still America. Like, I'm not the chimney police. You do what you want to do, but you hired me for a very specific reason, and that is to educate you on the current condition of your system. And I can almost assure you that there's a system that's designed the last 20, 25 years that is now 30 years into it with this much water damage has got some problems. Put a big metal box into a what do you call it, a rainforest, it's not gonna last. So overly transparent, right? So go ahead.
Yes, sir. Yeah, my name is Christian Howell. I've been in the industry for 7 years. Previously worked with my family's business in Oklahoma. Did the same thing there. I've been with this company for almost a year. And I just want to get more consistent with my process. I know I can get complacent. I'll do good for a short amount of time.
Yep.
I'll stick with the process, and then I'll go back to my old habits.
Start taking shortcuts.
Yep.
Yep.
And I need to get away from that.
So easy to do. Yep. Good one.
So that's what I would like to learn, and I know that that's a matter of determination.
It is. It's mindset a lot.
It
And it's
is.
so easy, man, because especially we're getting ready to get into busy season. Blind squirrel, finds the nut in busy season, right? Like, I mean, all of a sudden everything is going to start getting easier in the next 2 or 3 months because the customers' need levels are more established. It's getting colder. They want to use their systems. There's, we're actually seeing freestall damage, and then everything, when things get easier, all of a sudden you think, hey man, I'm pretty good at this sales thing, and all of a sudden all the little things that you did start to go away, and then all of a sudden we hit January, and you're like, man, I gotta work at this again, but I already forgot all the crap that I'm supposed to do. So consistent process is very, very
Yeah,
important.
we didn't stick to any kind of process, you know, when I worked with my family.
What part of Oklahoma?
Norman,
Okay, which is the nearest to?
Oklahoma City.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
So this is, to be honest with you, it was kind of a big culture shock when I moved here and I started
Yeah.
working for this company.
Yeah.
Because we do it the right way.
Yeah.
You know, and we didn't, you know, when I lived in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
So, in a sense, I'm still kind of learning, you know, how to do things correctly and still learning how to do the process correctly.
Yep.
But yeah, that's what I need to get consistent with.
Sweet.
is Just doing it well.
Perfect.
My name is Andrew. Been here for going on 6 years. Sales technician. I think what I'm probably most interested to take away from today is, obviously getting the processes better in terms of documentation, because I feel like my documentation is really good, but I still get calls from time to time from the production, so I
Sure.
think it could be better. Also interested in how you handle, just different objections.
Yep. We'll definitely cover that.
And maybe not even just handling them, but how you bring it into handling them, just out of like a normal conversation.
Yep. Absolutely. Well, I'm going to teach you as much objection prevention as objection handling, right? There are some objections that once you get them, they're very difficult to get past. So a lot of the process that we do, or how do you avoid ever getting that one thing that you don't want to get, namely price, right? And so we'll talk a lot about that. But yes, well, there's a whole, actually coming up very soon, we'll get into that. So.
I'm Nathan. I just started here in June, or at the beginning of June,
Yep.
or was it April? April rather. So I'm pretty new to spin training for the technician side for the past 2 months or so. So I've got a lot of stuff I could take out of this.
Yeah.
But I was just telling him the other day that seems like good timing, because while I'm getting comfortable now with like identifying what the problem could be, I have to get better at like presenting that to the customer.
Absolutely.
Kind of the process of walking through that with them, making them comfortable with my ability to address it or identify it.
That's perfect. Yeah, I mean, you're actually, I love, people ask me all the time, would you rather have a guy that's been doing this for 10 years or a brand new guy? Give me a brand new guy every time. Yeah, you're not going to know it's like Kevin, he's still in the point where he doesn't, you start talking barging and gorbling and, chases, and like some of these words still don't even fully make sense yet, right? But like I would much rather have a Kevin than someone that's been doing this 20 years because he's got no bad habits, right, with that he's developed. And again, undoing habits is the hardest thing in the world. So yeah, that's you're in a very good position to to start the way you should, and this will actually be way easier for you than it will for these other guys. So good. All right.
I'm Philip. I've been here almost 3 years.
Okay.
I was at another company before that for almost 3 years.
Okay.
So I learned there pretty much all the things not to do.
Okay.
It's one of those. Oh goodness. I'm not much of a salesman. I
Good.
never really have been. So I'm actually really encouraged listening to you talk, because it doesn't seem like it's all just manipulation tactics and that sort of stereotypical stuff that I expect.
Yeah, God, it's the opposite, right? It's,
Yeah.
Did you guys see the name of this class? So it was on the first slide. It's at the bottom of every slide. In order to sell, you have to stop selling, right? I mean, literally. There's so we'll get into it. Yes. Let's just keep going, because we're gonna hit that. So this is gonna tie into your exact point. So some of the stuff you may have seen in some of the weekly videos, but again, it's just it's important. If I'm gonna teach you to not sell, we have to understand what sales is, right? And if we're gonna not do something, we need to understand what it is, right? So when I say sales or salesperson, salesperson's coming to the house or whatever. What's that imagery look like to you? Like who's coming to your home? What do they look like? Carpet salesman, car salesman, vacuum salesman. Yeah, I mean, does anybody have anything good pop in their head? Like whenever, right? Isn't that crazy how one damn industry can ruin it for all of us? Like, a couple industries that, I mean, it's these guys, right? I mean, it's absolutely, it's one of my favorite lines ever in a movie. Like, holy, oh man, come on, that should swept from all the horsepower, Like that's the guy we think of when we think of sales. And if that guy shows up, that guy loses, because that guy is in it for himself. That guy wants to sell his product, he wants to make his commission, he doesn't give a shit about anybody else, right? He's going to tell you about how great his thing is, he's slick, he's all those things, and we have to be so far from this guy to do what we do to be successful, right? So the moment you feel like, and I tell people all the time, man, you know when you are turning on the sales guy. You know it. You don't like it, but sometimes you feel the need to do it. Did I mention it's lifetime warranty, and puke, right? Like you feel this need to justify your product. You never have to justify anything that you propose, ever. Customer has a problem, you solve their problem. Simple as that. If they don't want their problem solved anymore, that's okay. Is that you don't have to, this is what it is for our company to do that, right? So one of my first coaches I ever had 25 years ago, and I've seen him speak several times, is a guy named Jeffrey Gitomer. He's brash, he's rude, he's in your face, but he knows sales. And he's got probably 10 best-selling books out there. And he said something so long ago that stuck with me forever. I put it in all my classes, and that's that people don't like to be sold, but they like to buy, right? People don't like to be sold, but they like to buy. So my process is designed to put people into a buying position, not to be in a sell position. So I can tell you all day long what you need to do. Like, here's what you need to do. And you have a choice to believe me, to do it, to not do it. But if I say, hey man, what do you want to do? This is what I want to do. Okay, cool, here's how you do it. You can no longer argue with that. You can choose not to do it, but you can't argue with what you told me you wanted to do, right? It's not, and so a lot of what we teach is spinning and spin selling and all that kind of stuff that you've heard me talk about. Is I'm not going in and saying, man, here's what's happening, here's what you got to do. I'm going in and saying, how would you like to proceed, right? Why did you call me? Like, what's going on today? And then, okay, cool, here's how I help you do that, right? And it's impossible to. You're now they're in the buyer's seat, right? I'm not in the salesman seat. I'm in the consultant seat. So I love that quote. And so be thinking about how do you let your customers buy versus how do you sell to your customers. And so if we were to look up selling on the internet, dictionary.com, or bring out a book, what do you think the definition of selling is?
Probably has something to do with persuading someone to do something.
To persuade. That's very good.
Cajole.
To cajole. You think?
Manipulate.
Could be to manipulate, but legitimate selling. Like, this is not a trick question. What is selling?
Get someone to purchase your product.
Yeah,
Exchange of service.
that's exactly right. I have a product, a service, and I'm going to give it to you in exchange for money. I mean, that is literally the definition: to transfer goods or to render services in exchange for a price or money. Guys, so some of this may hit you in the face. And again, I wish I had more time to like extrapolate this over months, but if this is your process, you will lose. If your process is to sit down with a customer and show them a list of products and a description of those products and how much those products cost, you will lose. Ms. Jones, here's your crown coat for $800. Here's your flash seal for $600. Here's your heat shield for $3,500. Here's your parging for $2,000. If that is our presentation, right? If that is our here's our product and here's the price, you will absolutely lose in this industry because no one wants to buy what we sell, right? Anytime you do product and price, you naturally, the hairs on your neck go up. You naturally want to react to that price. You naturally want to think about it. You naturally want to speak with your wife. You naturally want to get another quote. You naturally want to, all these things naturally happen, right? So we have to change the conversation from product and price into problem and resolution, right? It has to be, it's not, you need crown coat for $800. It's Miss Jones, the top of your chimney is allowing water into the structure, which is causing deterioration. Eventually will lead into the home and, all these kind of things. So we're going to resolve that water intrusion point from the top of your chimney for the next 10 years for $800, right? Who cares what the product is? I don't even talk product, right? It's important for warranties and things like that, but whether it's crown coat, crown safe, crown seal, crown, who cares, right? The product is not what they are buying. It is the resolution of the problem they have, what they told me they wanted. And so the more that our proposal talks about, here's what I am selling you and here's how much what I'm selling you costs, the more you are going to have pushback, okay? So instead of saying crown coat for $800, our proposal should say we're going to resolve the deterioration at the top of the chimney and stop water intrusion for the next 10 years, $800. Right? Now, if you want to have crown coat in the back so your guys know what it is, that's fine. But your customers should not be, all right, go on the internet, crown coat, oh, I can get it on Amazon, $100, sweet. I'll do that myself, right? We'll get away from product and price. So here's, write this down. I'm going to quiz you guys throughout the day. This is the definition that we're going to use for sales for the rest of today and the rest of your time with me. There's a quote by Anthony Iarino, and I'm not going to read it word for word. You can read it up there and write it down word for word if you want, but we're going to paraphrase this is that sales is just simply a conversation. That's all it is. It's a conversation about your current state, where you are today, and where you want to go, and then the path that we're going to take together to get you there. That's all it is. Ms. Jones, how can I help you? Well, I would like this. Great. Let me show you how we do that. That's it. Literally, that's it. I mean, it is that simple. How can I help you? I would like this. Awesome. Here's how you get that. That is all we're doing. Right? Doesn't matter the product, doesn't matter all this stuff. At the end of the day, this is what you want your end result to be. I want to stop bricks from coming out of my chimney. I want to stop water. I want to stop smoke smells. I want to get heat out of my fireplace. I want to, I want to hit a button and have fire. Great. Whatever all those things are, who cares how you do it, right? Here's the path to get there, right? Does this make sense? So the more you start talking about, and you think you're using all your fancy training and knowledge and products and all this stuff, the more you're turning your customers off. At the end of the day, they don't care about any of that. All they care about is whatever it is they asked you for. Perfect. You called the right company. We help people do that all the time. Let me show you how to do that. It's really that simple. We don't have to overcomplicate. So if this is hard, I wouldn't do it. You know what I mean? Come on. Like, I don't want to do hard work. I just want to help people. Right? So you guys have probably seen this. If you've been to any of my classes, I use it in every single one. At the moment, this goes directly to you. The moment it feels like you're selling, you gotta stop. Right? If it feels like you're turning the screws, justifying, it's like, it's almost getting into busy season. Schedule's gonna be getting full soon. It's always gonna get worse. We don't take care of it this year. I don't know what it's gonna look like next. Come on. Right? We don't need to do any of that. Right? There's a line between education and fear, right? There's a line, like I can tell you all the things that are going to happen, but if you're not ready for this project, you're not ready for this project, right? I'm going to help you understand the project that needs to happen. I'm going to give you all the tools to help you do the project, including finance. You guys do finance, right? Interbank?
No,
Green Sky. So you integrate directly with Service Titan and all that, so perfect. So we'll talk about all that. But please just, the moment you feel like you need to justify your why and why this is the moment that you're going to turn into the guy in the plaid coat, right? And we wanted to stay away from that guy. And I'm not gonna lie, I've been that guy before. I found myself going, "Ooh, that guy sucks." Like I've done it, right? So, but just be aware of it. So this is the very first weekly video I ever did. It was number 1. I think it's the most important. I teach this in every single class I do. I think it is the absolute most important thing that you take out of this entire day, and that is the difference between a chimney technician and a chimney consultant. When I got into this industry, it was so heavy tech. Like everything was about how do you do a proper inspection? How do you check these 100 things? How do you limit liability? How do you make sure we do all this kind of stuff, have the customer sign off that this is a result of a visual inspection and not a rating of fireworthiness, and all this kind of stuff that was coming in. And the chimney technician, you got to be all those things, right? You got to understand chimneys, you got to be certified, you got to know all that stuff. But the chimney technician is the guy that goes in and says, I've inspected your fireplace, here's what I found, here's what's wrong with it, and here's what you need to do. That's what this industry taught forever, right? They literally, he goes in, here's what's wrong, here's what you need to do, and here's how much it costs. It is literally sales, it's the definition of sales, right? I am diagnosing the fireplace and the chimney, I'm finding deficiencies in the fireplace and chimney, and I'm telling you how to fix the fireplace and the chimney. That is what we've taught forever, right? It is so the wrong approach. That would be like me going into, so Ms. Jones, how often do you use the fireplace? Oh man, I don't use it. I've used it in 20 years, no intention to use it. Well, did you know your smoke chamber's not purged and you got gaps in your flue tile? You need a heat shield and it'd be the dumbest conversation you ever had, right? Yes, the chimney needs it. The chimney doesn't meet code. But the customer doesn't care about that. So if you tried to sell that to that customer, you already know what the answer is going to be, right? So we have to, you gotta, keep in mind, you gotta do all that stuff. You gotta document it, you gotta say all those things are true. But, and the questions need to be, why aren't we using the fireplace? What's keeping us from using it? Is there anything that could change to make you use it? What, you know, and if the answer is no, then great. Our focus is now exterior, or our focus is something different. We document the interior that is not in use, no intention to use. Customer understands that it is doesn't meet today's code and standard, can't use it, and we move on, right? So the chimney consultant goes in and says, Miss Jones, I'm Alan, I'm with the All American Chimney, how are you doing, right? What brings us out today, Miss Jones? What are we trying to get done? Just need a sweep today? Okay, great, awesome. You know, then we go through discovery with them. So we're looking to continue to use the fireplace. Perfect. That's our goal, right? Just want to use the fireplace, know that everything is okay. Well, last time we used the fireplace, Alan, we had some smoke smells. Just wanted to make sure everything was okay. Great. Our goal for the rest of the day is to identify the smoke smells and figure out what's causing that and make that problem go away. Hey, Alan, I heard some animals in my fireplace. I wasn't quite sure if they were active or whatever. Great. My goal is to make sure there's no animals in the fireplace and that there's no way that they can get in and there's whatever the case may be, right? I'm still going to do all the other stuff, but that is why I am there. And so it is all about what do you want, how do you get it, and then most importantly, this is the key to what I teach, is what happens if we don't do it. This is what we call problem impact selling, right? This is the idea of here's the problem, here's what happens if you don't resolve the problem, right? If what happens if you don't resolve it is not important to the customer, they will never buy. I want to say that again. If the impact of not resolving the problem is not important to the customer, they will never buy. Right? It could be a big problem with the fireplace and the chimney, but if they don't care about that problem, they will never buy. So, yes.
I'm sorry, I have a question.
Yeah.
So, let's say that we were called out to the home, and the very first conversation that we had about the fireplace is the fact that let's say that there's birds in the chimney,
Yeah.
or an animal in the chimney.
Sure.
We want to address that first before we move any further. We got to get that out of the room, right?
Well, if it's a live animal, that's up to you. I don't deal with live animals. I call it.
That's just an example.
Yeah, yeah.
If it's anything,
Yeah.
you know, if it's a water leak and we're out there for a sweeping inspection,
Yes.
do we want to address that first, correct?
We want to
Get that out of
address
the room.
whatever their concern, the reason for the call. If they call me for a leak, my dress is I'm going to start on the exterior, right? If they call me because they want to use the fireplace, I'm going to start on the interior. If they call me for an animal intrusion, I'm going to say, well, we want to make sure there's nothing in there, and then two, let's figure out how they got in there. Most likely, we don't have some sort of cap. We need to stop that from happening, and then let me just make sure there's no other points of entry into the chimney, right? So you're always starting with their concern, and then upon that, say, hey, we're chimney professionals. We do have to follow a national code. So once we touch the chimney, we're liable for it. So we're going to continue our investigation just to make sure these other things for our own internal documentation. And then should your situation change, we'll have that on file for you.
Okay. That makes perfect sense.
Okay.
Yes.
So our definition here, or our goal, right, is just help customers understand their system, right? What's going on? Here's deficiencies. Here's what's keeping you from achieving what you want. And then again, most important, what happens if we don't address it? You'll hear me say probably 10 times today, people don't buy what you sell, they buy what's going to happen if they don't buy what you sell. Right? No one's buying a partial rebuild. They're not buying a full rebuild. Right? No one's buying a tuck point. They're buying, I don't want to buy 5-course rebuild next year, right? It's not what they're, it's like, what is going to happen if I don't do this? It's almost insurance policy, right? It's like the classic guy that says, hey, I needed this fireplace for 30 years. I ain't had no problem, right? Thank God, you're not one of the statistics, right? I don't have that magic ball. I just know that every time you have a fire, heat is transferring through these bricks into combustibles and the ignition temperature is getting lower. You could probably use this another 100 years, never have a problem. You could use it tomorrow and your house could have an issue. I don't know, but we have codes and standards for a reason, right? There was enough fires and enough incidences that the entire nation felt the need we needed to update the national code. That's a pretty big deal, right? If you don't want to address it, I'm not the chimney police, right? But just know the risk that you take. right? What happens if they don't address it? If they don't care about it, they're never going to buy, right? I can tell you the rednecks that I've been out with. They're like, well, if I got insurance, you know, she burns. You know, it's like, are you that ignorant, right? You know, it's like, come on. Like, but I've had people literally say that. Well, I only paid $120 for it. What the? Are you serious? We were telling one guy up in where was it? It was Pennsylvania. I was like, man, I looked in. I mean, pyrolyzed creosote everywhere, glaze everywhere. I was like, man, I said, I'm pretty sure you've had some chimney fires. He said, oh yeah, every year. I was like, what? Don't even try to sell me one of them liner things. It's like, man, okay. Yeah, I'm seeing it's just that's the best way to clean a chimney. You have fire in it. It's like, okay. You get them all, right?
I had a customer who had such regular chimney fires. He built his own chimney.
Yeah.
He had such regular chimney fires. He had a rope and pulley system to his roof with
Nice.
buckets next to a spigot, and he would pull himself up real fast with a bucket of water and dump it down every time he had a chimney fire.
That's awesome.
And then he'd go back and light his fire again.
That's impressive.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
amazing.
That is awesome.
He did
Yeah.
not care.
So, you know, a lot of times we get so stuck into the way something should be, we don't take the time to understand that people don't really care about it. Right? And then the more that, like, you are, it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like, you know, if it's like, you know, it's like, you don't use the fireplace, and then if you try to sit down with that person and say, well, here's what you need to do to fix the fireplace, well, okay, well, I'm not using it, so just have a good day. You already know what's going to happen before it happens. So we're going to kind of talk about how to hopefully change some of those conversations. And so this is there's a great marketing book out there, and I don't know if you've read this yet, Doug. It's called Story Branding. It's a guy named Donald Miller, and you know, it's not so much for text. It's you know, but it's I took some applications out of this for, even though it's for marketing, for sales, and basically in this book he talks about that every story, whether it's a movie, a book, everything from like the Bible to Harry Potter, he says, right? There is a framework for telling a story, right? There's always three main characters, right? In every story, there's the hero, right? There's the guy that we're rooting for to get to the end and win, and then there's the villain, right? That comes in and tries to keep the villain from or the hero from winning, and then there's the guide that is kind of that mediator in the background and is help. I always think of like Morgan Freeman and like you know, the Shawshank. You know, he's kind of our hero is Andy, but he's kind of the guy that's helping Andy through this and all this stuff. He's been there for a long time. He understands how the game works and all this stuff. And so when I think about it from a sales process, a lot of the technicians that I work with, they want to be the hero, right? They want to go in and say, I found it, you know, I figured out the problem, and I can fix it, and here's how you do it, right? And that's the wrong mindset, right? The mindset is not, I found it, I can fix it, I can help you. The mindset is, I want you to be the hero, this customer, right? Like, tell me what you want today. How can I help you today, right? And then I'm the guy that has said, perfect, I'm so glad you called Auburn Computing. We've been solving this problem since 2006 for people, right? We do this every day. Actually just helped the customer, let me show you a picture. I just helped the customer do this exact same thing just last week. So let me just do a little bit more investigation for you, and then let's see if it's a similar solution. But either way, I'm gonna be able to take care of you so that problem goes away, right? So you're setting them up to be the winner. If you win, that doesn't feel good for the customer. They don't want you to win. That's the vacuum salesman, right? He got his commission, he got his sale, right? Like, you're helping them win. And so get out of that mindset of, I am here to find it and fix it, and get into the mindset of, I'm just here to help you, whatever that looks like, right? Once you do that, man, everything gets easier. Everything gets easier when it's all just about helping people. So I always ask people, how are you the hero or are you the guide? And what's funny, one of my larger clients that I go see every 3 months, their company name is Chimney Heroes, and they're like, they're just like, man, I was like, you don't want to be the hero, you want to be the guy. Oh man, Chimney God sounds stupid. See, so if you've seen any of my classes, you've certainly heard me talk about this book before. It is literally the book that changed my career 25 years ago. It was the moment that I learned to stop selling stuff, right? And it was the moment that I learned that all I have to do is find out what my customers want, and help them with that, right? It's really that's really what spinning is. So spin selling it's that 80s book, got author named Neil Rackham. He spins an acronym for the types of questions that we ask customers, and we're going to get into those questions later, but quickly, the S is situation, right? These are situation questions. How often do you use the fireplace? How long have you lived here? How long do you plan on living here, right? P are problem questions, right? These are you having any kind of issues? Basically situation questions about the problem. Yeah, we've had some smoke. When did that smoke problem start? Did you make any changes to the home that before that happened, right? Does it happen the whole time you're having the fire, or just beginning of the fire, blah, blah, blah. I is implication. Basically, these are questions that lead to a negative impact. So, anybody see about stuff? Do you know what the most powerful word in sales is? One word, the most powerful word in sales? Yet. That's right. Good job, man. Have you seen any kind of water come into the home yet? Right? You notice that your flashing is up. We kind of see any kind of water coming into the home yet? That always gets a reaction, right? You go to a furnace, a flue, it's not venting properly. Situation question, do we have carbon monoxide detectors? Yeah, we sure do. Now, just to be clear, they haven't gone off yet. Right? Yet, most powerful situation. That's an implication, right? That is basically saying that you have a situation that will lead to this if not addressed, right? Need payoff is the opposite of implication. It's a power. It's the end. It is, if I even solve this problem, do you care about it, right? How often do you use the fireplace? Situation question, right? Oh man, we haven't used it in 10 years. Whoa, what's going on? Why have to use it in 10 years? This thing looks awesome. Well, man, last time we used it, I remember it was just a pain in the butt. It smoked. It had to get wood, and we wanted to go to bed, and we couldn't, had to put the fire out, and we had to wait, and it was just a big pain. So we're totally get that, man. Well, just hypothetically speaking, what if you didn't have to deal with any of that? What if you didn't have to deal with wood? What if you didn't have to deal with smoke? What if you didn't have to deal with putting it out, and you could just hit a button and get instant fire? Is there a chance that you would use it more then? Well, possibly, right? Need payoff, right? If the guy's like, no, honestly, we have no intentions of ever using that. Well, I know that my gas route is now shut off, right? Or that's not something that he values. And so if he said, well, I don't know, maybe, that would be kind of cool, but, obviously everything depends on budget. Well, of course, right? There's a potential now that whenever I scan this thing and I find issues, that I can now start talking about the value of an insert or, a log set or, something like that. So, so spin selling, we're going to spend a lot of time when we get into discovery. These are the types of questions that we ask that give us the ammo and the information from our customers to be able to put together a proposal or a solution to them that they care about, right? That's the whole idea of that. So let's take I've got 9:47. Let's just take about 6-7 minutes. Come no later than 9:55.